Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, we got to be talking about this rumor. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right there, but hit that like and subscribe button if you guys like content like this. We cover every single NBA team, and go check out my work at hoopshype.com. My hair looks a little funny right now, but according to Mark Stein of the Stein Line, the Denver Nuggets are actively exploring trades. Quote, they're routinely described these days by league insiders as a team not only looking for trades, but eager to do something to shake things up any way they can. So we're going to get right into today's video, talk about what potential trades we think could happen and what are the most realistic ones. This is a team that still does have their taxpayer mid-level exception of $5.1 million. They are, I believe, $1 or $2 million just below the apron, so they are able to trade out multiple contracts at once, but they can only take back less money at a time. So let's get right into it. And with the first one, I think this is the one that we've all sat here and we said, if there's going to be a trade, let's have it be Vasilije Micić, former EuroLeague MVP, a guy who's showing that he can be a passer at the NBA level. He can, score at an NBA level. And it's all come down to opportunity and scheme that's held him back at the NBA level. He's been with the Thunder, where he was buried on the depth chart, and then with the Hornets now, he's been getting some opportunity. And in this deal, we just do Zeke Nnaji for Vasilije Micić. The only pick the Nuggets have to trade currently is their 2031 pick, which they're not going to trade unless it's a really good deal, and they probably will heavily protect it. Right here, you tell the Hornets, hey, there ain't going to be anybody else out there. You rather just get something for Micić. Yeah, Nnaji's making $8 million a year. Micić is making less money and has one more year on his deal. You give a guy that the Hornets can develop as a backup big, maybe more, and then down the road trade him. So I think that's realistically one of the deals that it does make sense if they were going to go out and try to just do a straight 1-for-1. I think that one could be attainable. Or if he sends Nnaji somewhere else, or Nick Richards gets traded, and they send that third team sends assets to the Hornets. Hornets send you Micić, and you send them Nnaji, as that way the Hornets would be more willing to move off of Richards for that said third team. The next one, again, we're starting these off with, if they were going to do a move, I feel like this is predominantly going to be as a result of Nikola Jokic being the driving factor behind that. And this is, again, you're trying not to use any picks, and I know Payne Watson wouldn't be somebody you'd like to trade, but in this deal, if you're trying to get a guy like Bogdan Bogdanović, I think you'd have to either throw in Payne Watson or Julian Strawther as a trade sweetener with Zeke Nnaji. This would have to have them using their taxpayer mid-level exception of $5.1 million, because these two guys' salaries put together is about $11 million, and then you would assume them being $2 million under the apron plus the taxpayer mid-level exception would be able to get them over the edge to make this deal financially viable. And you get yourself a guy who can be a backup point guard, who can play 1 through 3, can also guard when he tries, and is a really good 6-man in Bogdan Bogdanović. Now, you are giving up a guy in Payne Watson who could be pretty decent, and I also believe that you could be paying, if it doesn't work out, you're going to have a very big luxury tax payment. And also, I think the Hawks would like Payne Watson, so this one, a lot of these are built around Zeke Nnaji. Vlatko Čančar's out for a while. We don't know what's going to happen with him. This one may or may not include the pick. I'd assume you'd have to. And the way this would go down is, again, this would have to involve them using their taxpayer mid-level exception, which would make them a second apron team after making a move like this. And the heavily protected first-round pick, which would be probably something that it'd have to be protected by the lottery. And then if after 2 years it doesn't convey, it becomes a second-round pick. And this would give them a guy that they could bench Michael Porter Jr. or bench Jamal Murray, or even, put out a Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Dorian Finney-Smith, and have Jamal Murray off the floor, and just go super lanky and have Jokic be the point guard in those situations. It would just give you a lot of two-way. I think that's one that if you're looking at, that's actually not that bad of a trade right there. I think a next, if we're going to stick with the Nets right here, I think the Nets really do have a few trades. I would love a Cam Thomas, Dorian Finney-Smith package, but I think that's rather unlikely. And in this deal, you don't want to give up any picks. So in the other way, by the way, you could do a Cam Thomas, Dorian Finney-Smith. It would have to be Zeke Nnaji, Vlatko Cancar, De'Ron Holmes. I think you might have to throw in Jalen Pickett or Hunter Tyson. And this, to me, by the way, I think I mixed up the writings right here, but you could argue that the Nuggets getting themselves either Cam Thomas in this deal. If they did this deal, Cam Thomas, yeah, you give up De'Ron Holmes and Hunter Tyson, but you're getting a 25 point per game scorer who can start or come off the bench. And the Nets don't get a first round pick, but they get De'Ron Holmes. And that's what I was going to say with the last one. If they don't do the last deal where we had Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe it's Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Thomas, you send them De'Ron Holmes, Hunter Tyson, Vlatko Cancar, and Zeke Nnaji, and you may or may not have to throw in Dario Saric, because I don't think the taxpayer mid-level exception is going to get you over there. You could maybe sneak away without having to give up a pick, because you could argue De'Ron Holmes, yeah, he popped his Achilles. He's going to be the guy you can consider is the first round pick in this deal, which I wouldn't think is the end of the world if you're a basketball fan. Like, hey, De'Ron Holmes and Noah Clowney, I can get behind that front court. I can get behind that front court over the next few years. Cody Martin, not Caleb Martin, the other Martin twin. And this is, hey, if the Vasilije Micić deal doesn't work out, let's just see, hey, Cody Martin, is anybody going to really want him? Yeah, he's an 8 points per night game guy, but he's someone that can come in whenever Michael Porter Jr. isn't hitting shots. And this is really, and he's under contract for another season. This is really you just trying to get off Zeke Nnaji's deal at this point, and I feel like this would be one of the ways that you could perhaps do that. And I think there could be always worse deals, but I do believe that finding a guy like that would be like the bottom of the discount bin if they were. That's the one deal they end up doing. Back to the Nets. Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr., just a straight up swap. You're just shedding salary. You get a guy who Johnson, he's actually, I think Cam Johnson, Michael Porter Jr. is younger than Johnson, but he can do the same thing, if not more consistently, maybe a little bit better defensively. And he's on a cheaper deal. That's really the rationale that I've always said, that I think they can kind of do the same thing. And maybe Michael Porter Jr. is a better takeover ISO guy. Now, the Utah Jazz, if John Collins was cheaper, this would make sense. To me, if they did a deal, again, you would be trying to shed Michael Porter Jr. You'd be going super guard heavy. You bring in Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. Maybe you throw in, I don't know why there's the second round pick. There are no second round picks, so ignore that it says a second round pick right there. But you do this because of the shot creation, the backcourt depth that you'd get from this. And I mean, I'm not a fan. I just, that's where, like, you know, where you felt like we're poking at straws. I think this is more realistic. Jeremy Grant coming over here and joining the team, as I think if you could flip Michael Porter Jr. and get a former Nugget in Grant, who's going to be able to be a scorer and a defender and guard every position, I think everybody's going to be happy. Plus, he's cheaper, which is weird to say because Grant got overpaid, but he's cheaper. So that's one thing to think about, is that, yeah, he's actually a cheaper option. The next one, second to last, is Bruce Brown. Yeah, and this one you would try to get Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown, 2 expiring contracts. Boucher was on the championship team. Bruce Brown was also on the championship team. You bring back Bruce Brown, who's a huge part of that team, and you get a forward there to give you some depth, and you move off of the money of Michael Porter Jr., so you're not screwed there anymore. That's not a bad one, guys. I'm really telling you, that's not a bad one. And obviously, the last one, Zeke Nnaji. Maybe you have to throw in Jalen Pickett or somebody. You get yourself Gabe Vincent, which gives you an actual backup point guard who can play defense and still space the floor. Which I feel like a lot of us are sitting here and saying, like, man, it would be really nice if the Nuggets had somebody that they could go out and get. Like, I would love that. I would love that. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think of this and why? But peace out, like, comment, and subscribe. And we've known they've been actually interested in Vasilije and Micić for a while. So I'm just like hoping at this point, like, this is going to be like what they go out and do, because it just feels like it should be happening or should have happened already. That's it. My 2 cents. Bye.